G'day, today we're taking a look at our new ProntoLine ready-to-use paint. ProntoLine ready-to-use is all about convenience. There's no calculating ratios, measuring, stirring, pouring, mixing. There's none of that. You just simply shake and you're ready to go. This makes it easy for anyone to use, particularly people in the amateur sector, so if you're a club with volunteers. Pronto is all about consistency because you don't have to worry about diluting the product. You always know what your line's going to look like and how long it's going to last. Whereas with concentrates, you may not get the perfect dilution every time, so the results may vary a little bit. With Pronto, from drum to drum, use to use, person to person, it's always going to be the same, so you can rely on it. It comes in a little nifty 10-litre drum, which means that you're just going to be pushing around less weight. The average Pronto 10-litre drum weighs about 10 to 12 kilos, and that's going to mark you the same amount of fields as your 30-litre diluted concentrate mix, which comes in around 30 kilos. With seemingly less paint, Pronto paints the same amount of fields because it uses what we call an atomizing nozzle tip. The nozzle tip basically sprays a finer mist, which means the droplets coming out are smaller and stick to the surface of the leaf more effectively. They don't run down the surface of the leaf and end up in the soil, which is where a lot of concentrates get wasted. You also don't lose any of that undiluted residual paint that settles in the bottom of your container at the end of the day. You might finish your marking day and have 4 or 5 litres left in your drum, and even if you pour that out into another offload container, it's still, because it's diluted, tends to separate from the solution that it's in. And then if you were to leave that for a week or two, then it actually hardens in the bottom of the container and becomes unusable. With Pronto, even if you have a litre or something left in your container and the suction tube isn't picking it up, then all you do is just pour that into your next container and nothing has been wasted. Pronto is designed to stay suspended in its solution for up to 18 months. This means that the chances of stock going off on the shelf is significantly reduced. And the reason it stays suspended in its solution for so long compared to concentrates is because it uses what we call a micronized pigment. With a micronized pigment, you get more reflective surface area coming off each droplet because there's a higher volume of pigment and therefore more edges of pigment particles for light to reflect off. For example, if you imagine with salt, you could have your fine table salt or rock salt, and in the same space or in the same volume, you can actually fit more of that fine table salt as opposed to your rock salt. So that means that in the same volume of pigment, you get a much brighter result because there's a higher volume of the pigment able to fit and therefore more reflective surface area actually reflecting light. The other thing, of course, is that it's so much easier to swap between colors. It's just a matter of shaking the next container, dropping your drop spear into the next container, and you're ready to go. Pronto also uses a fast drying formula, which means that it dries and is ready to play on within 30 minutes of the marking. That means it's great for last minute marking. Let's say that someone forgot to mark the field and it's game day and you need someone to rush out in the morning, paint the field. It will be dry by the time the game starts. For any initial marking, that's painting the first lines on the ground for the first time, a 10-litre ProntoLine drum will mark you up to 2 fields. For any over marking, painting on existing lines, 10-litre ProntoLine drum will get you up to 4 fields. Because it's ready to use, you don't change the dilution of the product to alter the brightness of the line. You change the nozzle tip to alter the brightness of the line and the amount of product that you're actually spraying on the ground. So for any over marking, you actually use a finer nozzle tip because you don't need as much product on the ground. If you value effort and time, then Pronto is going to be much more economical for you. And if you don't value effort and time, maybe concentrate is for you. But for example, if you're a club and you use a lot of volunteers, it's going to be a lot better to use Pronto because you don't want to burden these volunteers with the extra steps of using concentrate. If you make it easier for them, you're going to find someone who's willing to do the marking and still get an outstanding result.